so we're going to talk about systems of linear equations with all three special cases. So let's recall all the types. So we can have 1 point written as x comma y. We can have a no solutions. Remember, no solutions is something like -11 does not equal 7. And we can also have an IMS. So this would be like 0 equals 0 or -5 equals -5 because the statement is true. So keeping all three of those in mind, we're going to go to a no solution. So these examples give you no solution. So what happens when we graph a system and what type of lines will they be? So we know that when we graph a system that has no solution at all, the lines will never cross an intersection. So what type of lines will they be? They will be parallel. Method number 2, substitution. So we're going to take these two equations, and when we substitute them up from the top here, we're going to actually set them equal to each other. So 3x plus 1 is equal to 3x minus 3. When I get a variable on both sides, so I'm going to add 3 to both sides, and I get 3x plus 4 equals 3x. And then when I subtract 3x from both sides, I get 4 equals 0. So that's no solution because the statement is not true. Moving on to elimination. So if I do these in elimination, I need to have both my variables on the same side. So when I rewrite the equation, I would get -3x plus y equals 1. And then the second equation is -3x plus y equals -3. I'm going to put my two together, and it is going to give me -6x. First, I'm going to actually make my opposite coefficients. Sorry about that. So I'm going to multiply by -1 on top. So that gives me 3x minus y equals -1, and the other one stays the same, -3x plus y equals -3. Now I'm going to put them together. So that eliminates my x's and my y's and leaves me with 0 equals -4. And again, this is not true, so the equation is no solution. So the difference between substitution and elimination is you'll eliminate all your variables, not just one. And the other one, when you go to solve, you're going to get something that does not make the statement true. You cannot go back in and substitute. All right, so IMS, or infinite many solutions. Given the example below, we have x plus y equals 3 and x minus y is -3. We're going to do substitution first, remembering you have to isolate a variable. So I'm going to do isolate the variable on the top. So I'm going to solve for x. So x plus y equals 3. I'm going to solve for x by moving y around. So that gives me x equals -y plus 3. Then I'm going to go and substitute this back into the bottom equation. So -y plus 3 minus y equals -3. Gives me -2y plus 3 equals -3. And then I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides to get -2y equals -6. And then y is equal to 3. I'm going to substitute that back in for y. So x plus 3 equals 3. And when I subtract 3 from both sides, I get x is equal to 0. Now don't get me wrong, this gives me 0, 3, and I'm kind of wondering why. So we're going to go back to that in a second. I don't want to re-record this video. All right, so I forgot one piece. Do you remember what IMS looks like on the graph? I'm sure most of you do. It's where both lines are one on top of the other. Let's go to elimination. So I'm going to rewrite these both right here. Remember, we have to have opposite coefficients. We have that with the y, so this y is going to eliminate itself. And when I do that, I get 2x equals 0, and divide by 2, and x is equal to 0. And then I'm going to put that back in, and I get 0 plus y equals 3. And y equals 3. So funny enough, this example does not equal IMS. IMS should be the same thing equals, like I gave you the example at the top, IMS should equal itself. So this one actually is not an IMS example. It is a regular equation example where you get 2 coordinate points. Obviously they match, so we've done them both the same, which is why I was waiting to go back. But an IMS would be where you substitute or eliminate and you get like 3 equals 3 or 0 equals 0. So sorry about that. That's sometimes we write problems and we think they're going to come out the way that we want them to, and they don't. So at least you got practice using substitution and elimination. But down here on the bottom, you're going to go through and hopefully you get an IMS answer. But if not, go back into your notes where we did the IMS part of the chapter, and you should be able to review that from there.